everybody, this is Derek. I'm here with Nerd Initiative with a very special interview, very special guest. I'm here with Frank from Frankly Built. You may know him from his incredible 3D printing, his incredible cosplay, and his absolutely immaculate Iron Man armors, which I will be talking to him about a lot tonight. If anybody is watching and paying attention to my background, Iron Man is kind of a guy that I care about. So, Frank, thank you so much for being on here with me. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. This is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for those that don't know you and don't know what it is you do, um, how did you get started into the hobby of 3D printing? Like, we'll start there. How did you get into 3D printing?
Uh, I kind of just wanted an Iron Man suit. The bare bones of it, that was really it. I kind of just wanted to make a cosplay costume after a lot of research. It was about 4 years ago, and I landed on 3D printing after some trial and error. It seemed like the most viable thing to get into to make the suit, to make the red suit behind me, the Mark 85. And after going down that rabbit hole, I realized there's a lot more other cool stuff I can make, all these props and stuff that I obviously always wanted growing up as a kid or something that'd be cool on the wall. And it got out of hand really quickly.
Yeah, it does do that. So you said that you landed on 3D printing. Did you go other routes? Did you try like the cardboard, the foam?
I
Did you?
did. I did. I tried papercraft. I tried Pepakura.
Ooh, that's rough.
And
That's hard.
that's rough, buddy. Yep. It was not great at first. Godspeed to anybody who's ever made an Iron Man suit out of Pepakura files. I got about halfway done with a helmet and I crushed it and was like, nope, there's got to be a different way. Nope, nope, nope. This is not it. Nope. Do not have the patience for this. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
tried it.
have immense respect for anybody that can do paper craft. I did foam before I started getting into 3D printing, and that was
Yep.
too much. The foam was too
I'm
much.
I'm glad I skipped foam. I really am. I got again respect for people who do it. You can do
Hmm.
it. There are applications where foam absolutely is superior.
Hmm.
But I'm okay with plastic. I'm happy.
Yeah, yeah. So you said you wanted to make an Iron Man suit. So why Iron Man? Is it just because of the movies? Were you a fan of the comics? Was it just because Iron Man looks cool and it's a really fun
Um,
suit?
the movies. I really it boiled down to I was a big fan of the movies growing up. My dad got me into the movies. He was into the comics. And just it was such a cool thing. And it's an Iron Man suit. You know, who didn't leave Iron Man 1 thinking like I want one of those? So I just followed him the whole way. I loved all the Marvel movies, especially the Infinity Saga. And then after Avengers Endgame, seeing the Mark 85, just everything it represented, his final suit, the culmination, the Ditka armor, all of that. I fell in love with it. It was my favorite armor period.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm a big Iron Man fan, have been since I was a little kid, and the Mark 85 is incredible, and that suit is awesome. I had the pleasure of seeing that in person at C2E2 this last year, and it looks so good on camera. It looks so much better in person.
Thank you. I
It's kind of
appreciate
crazy
that.
how incredible that looks in person. Um, so how long did it take you to go from nothing to a completed suit? I know that you've done a lot of upgrades and this has been a multi-year process with that Mark 85 but how long did it take from nothing to an actual completed suit?
Define completed.
Enough
Like
that you could wear it to a con.
I'd say a year.
Yeah.
If you have a normal life, I think normal obligations, 9 to 5, family, bills, whatever the heck, I'd say a year is a good time frame. Can people do it in 2 to 3 months? Absolutely. Can it take you 5 years? Absolutely. But about a year, I'd say it took me to have something really tangible I was comfortable in that I could wear to a con.
Really pretty good. Now you started out on what printer did you start out on?
The Creality CR10S that is actually sitting right behind me. It is my first printer, and I still have it. He's going through some upgrades right now. He's seen better days, but
Hmm.
that is the first printer frame. That was it. That is the printer that printed this and got us here. Yep.
That's a would you say about a medium size build plate at this point? Because it's not as
Nowadays,
big
yeah,
as
absolutely.
it's not
I'd
as
say
big as like
it's
a Max or
correct. I think a lot of people start calling it a helmet class printer.
yeah.
You have your smaller printers, a helmet class medium sized printer, and then you have your armor large class printers, the maxes, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I'd still 300 cube. That's kind of the 300, 300, 400. That's kind
Hmm.
of the running standard for getting into this. That's a great starter printer. That's the size you want. You don't want to get the biggest printer possible to start off with. You're just shooting yourself in the foot. Yeah, that's medium, called medium.
Yeah, because then you don't have to cut up the files as bad on something like that.
Exactly.
Like I started
Exactly.
on my little Ender 3 that's still hanging out over here that's out of commission
Hey, look
right
at the
now.
little guy.
And
There it is.
yeah, to do like this Dr. Fate helmet behind me, that was 12 files to
Yeah,
print that all off, and that was
sounds
ridiculous.
about right.
That was ridiculous. So so speaking of, slicing and cutting everything up, what were some of the biggest hurdles you had to jump to get going into this? Like, what were some of the biggest hassles and headaches? And again, I know a lot of these because I watch a lot of your videos,
Thank
but
you.
it's always good to hear, especially for somebody getting into the hobby, of what they're going to go through to try and get something to actually work.
The biggest hurdle will always be fitting it, scaling it, and fitting it to your body. You can phone in the paint, you can print it in a material that looks good. I always forget the gentleman's name, but there was an Iron Man cosplayer on Instagram who raw printed his entire suit in silk filaments, and
Oh
it
wow.
looks great. It looks great. Obviously, people who know what they're looking at in terms of 3D printing, you look at it like, oh, that's a printed that, but like most people don't care. They see gold and red. Oh, that's Iron Man.
Hmm.
His suit looks great. He did a great job on it. And he's tall. He's like 6'3", 6'4". So he looks great in the suit. I think he's over in the UK or Europe somewhere. But yeah, scaling it, getting it to fit because you want to just print the thing, right? You want
Hmm.
to just get the thing to print off the printer, put it on. You're like, oh, it worked, fit perfect.
Right.
Very seldom is that going to happen. So that's the spot you need to slow down with the most. If you go back and watch the original couple videos for either of these suits, I just printed everything at 100% scale, and that was about for a 6 foot tall person. I am not 6 foot tall. Um, some things fit, some things didn't. Now there are a lot better resources, programs like Armor Smith.
Hmm.
I have tutorials now showing you how to scale stuff. Um, the more time you spend on that and really getting things to size and scale before you start printing stuff, and then the more time you spend on getting it to be comfortable and fit you, it just pays it dividends in the end. It really does. It's the hardest worst part. It really is.
Yeah, and so how much this is kind of a weird question. How much filament do you think you wasted on not scaling it properly on the first build?
Well, that's the thing. This is the first build.
Well, no, no,
I
no. I
never
know,
re
but I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
never
didn't.
reprinted anything.
No, I
You
made
just
it work.
you just made it work.
I trimmed a lot of stuff. I still have the two failures I had while printing all of Star Boost. I don't know why I got so lucky. My printers were just on something else. I only had two. I only had I think it was 150 grams of wasted failed prints on all of Star Boost. Not obviously a lot of support material, but
Right.
yeah, I got and then I trimmed a lot of stuff and made it work. I wear booster shoes that boost me up about 2 inches in the suit,
Hmm.
so the legs are the right length and stuff. I learned through printing this suit that was designed for a 6 foot tall person, my thighs are why I'm short. And I know that
Right.
sounds silly, but like if I get a shirt or a jacket or that whole suit that's made, the torso up fits me perfectly. Arm
Hmm.
length, shoulder length. I have the upper body of a 6 foot tall person. My shins and feet fit. It's my thighs that are always need to be shrank down a lot. So I think if my thighs were like 3 or 4 inches taller, I'd be proportional and fit perfectly. So yeah, it's been a fun realization.
Yeah. Well, and I mean that's not weird. Because the person that models the file, they're modeling it for a specific body type, and
Yep,
people aren't cookie cutter, and
they
so
are not.
it
And
absolutely
you
makes sense that scaling is the hard. Like I'm 6'4", and so me trying to find something to print for a cosplay is really, really difficult also. I got a giant head. Like I can't print anything at 100%. Everything's got
Oh
to be
man.
scaled way up. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all that that was your biggest issue. Um, so all right, let's get past that. And so you've got a suit ready to go, and now you're ready to go to conventions. So what do you have any like your favorite convention experiences? Or before
Ooh.
we get to that, actually, while you think about that, was there a moment when you first started to go into conventions and you got a reaction that just made you feel like, oh, I've done something really impressive here?
Yes. There's one moment that particularly will always stand out. Um, it was it was my first con appearance in the States, actually, because I moved back from England. And so it was the first time I was going to a con in the suit. It was Silicon with Adam Savage, 2021, August. Yeah, I think it was 2021. Um, and Yeah, sorry. Yeah. We're walking around. It was the first time I had met up with the Iron Idiots, Danny, Emily, Kiera, the other Iron Man cosplayers I became really good friends with. And we're walking around. I don't know what time of day. I don't know where everybody else was. I'd broken off from the group. I'm waddling around in my costume, and I'm somewhere near the food court area. And I'm just walking. I think I have my mask up, I think, and I'm just kind of chugging along, just wandering around. And I just hear this little girl scream from across this like food court. And she just goes, Iron Man! And it starts wave. She was like 5 or 6 years old, just throws her hand up and just waves. So I like before I looked over, I put the mask down and looked at her and waved. And like my heart melted, just like
Mm-hmm.
that was so cute. So she runs across the food court, and her dad was wandering with her, like trying to chase her. So he's like, "Hey, can we take a picture?" And we're standing there, and the little girl stands next to me, and I just feel through the plastic gloves, I just feel a hand grab one of the fingers and is just holding my hand. And I'm like, I'm so glad the mask is down right now. Oh my God. Like it made it all just like it was so cute. I could have taken the suit off, thrown it away, and never done another thing in my life. And I'd be like, that was worth it. No, that was good. I'm good. I'll tap out here, guys. That's it. Like I'll never forget that. I'll never forget the pitch, her voice, everything. It was just so, it made every trial and tribulation, aggravation that I've ever gone through with the suit, every negative comment, or it was just like, whatever. What you guys have no idea what that just felt like. Go away. Like, yeah, it was good.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I can't imagine that, especially because it was a little kid. Like
That was adorable.
it'd be different if it was me screaming and running across at you. You know, it's a big guy.
More adults do that though than kids. I
Yeah.
get more reactions and more excitement from adults. And half of them, and I've started to catch on, half of them will lie to me. And I've started to notice this. They'd be like, "Oh, dude, let me get a picture for my nephew." Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, not all of you have kids and nephews. Yeah, some of you are lying to me. You just want the photo. Like
Yeah.
and
I'll tell
they
you
get
when
excited
I
for it, you know?
when I saw you, I wanted a photo. I followed you until you were done, like until people parted enough because there was a lot of little kids.
Where'd you run into me? Was it by the C2E2, the little band,
It was
the
I
archway,
so
or
I was there with a buddy of mine and he like waved me over because he saw you there because I knew that you were gonna be there. And I promise I'm not stalking you. I just knew you were gonna be at C2E2. And
I loved C2E2.
it was so much
That was
fun.
so much fun.
That's
That
the
was,
most
yeah,
fun I've ever had at a con. It was so much fun.
that's good.
And it was my first like big con that I ever went to. So it
That's a
was
good
a
one.
lot of fun. Yeah, it was.
That's a good one.
But yeah, so I ran into you the first time you were over there, and then I just kind of followed you until the crowds parted enough for me to get a picture. And I was just like, I follow you on YouTube. Can I get a picture? I wasn't even gonna lie about it wasn't for my kids. I showed my kids the picture. They thought it was cool, but it was for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was for me. Um, so yeah, you said you liked C2E2. What are do you have any like favorite con experiences other than just getting
Absolutely.
recognized and or like, you know,
Um,
the excitement that people see or that people have?
I it's still weird being recognized. I That's not something I think I'm ever going to be used to.
Hmm.
Um, fun fact, I have never ever been recognized more than at C2E2.
Really?
Don't know why. Don't know what's up in Chicago that people love Iron Man and 3D printing, or my YouTube, my analytics are just great there. I do not know. But in costume and out of costume, I have never, by like a order of magnitude, been recognized except at C2E2. It was ridiculous. Like when we were all just standing around talking, not even in costume, me, Kiara, and Nick, and we'd run into other people. Like people were just recognizing me. I'm like, even Kiara started really making fun of me for it. She's like, "Why are you more famous in my hometown?" I'm like, "I don't know." It was weird. It was like to the point where like it wasn't getting annoying, but I felt bad for the people I was with because we were trying to walk around and do stuff, and I kept getting stopped. And I'm like, I don't have anywhere to be, but I know you guys do. I'll catch up with you. Like, yeah, I got to move to Chicago or something, but that might be bad for my ego. I don't know. No, so it depends on. I was just talking about this on Twitch last night with people. After you go to 5 or 6 big cons, and I mean like the big cons are the Reed Pop cons. That's
Right.
C2E2. That's New York Comic Con, comiccon.org, San Diego Comic Con, WonderCon, MegaCon, Salt Lake, like Fan Expo.
Hmm.
Once you go to 3 or 4 of those cons, cons kind of suck. Even those, they're the same thing. It's a flea market
Right.
for nerds.
Right.
The same stuff I can buy in Anaheim is the same stuff I can buy in New York, is the same stuff I can buy in Florida. It's all the same vendors selling the same overpriced stuff, half of the stuff you can get on eBay.
Hmm.
You start going for who's going to be there. Now, that could be the celebrities. Oh, I really want to get, Charlie Cox in GalaxyCon Raleigh. Cool. You start going for the people, or you start going for your friends.
Hmm.
I just recently went to San Diego Comic Con, and aside from it being during the writer's strike, so none of us were really keen on promoting San Diego Comic Con.
Hmm.
Um, each day, Friday, Saturday, we got there late Friday. We didn't even go. We ended up going to see Oppenheimer and Barbie. So Saturday and Sunday, we weren't in the convention center for more than 3 hours
Oh, wow.
because there's nothing to do there. We weren't
Right.
cosplaying, and you walk around, you see the same stuff. You might have a friend who has a booth, or you might go check out this place. And then you're like, all right, it's all the same booths at all the same cons. So
Hmm.
cons kind of start to suck. So you don't go to the con for the con. You go because, oh, Brittany and Danny and Emily are there, and I get to run in. So you start going because you get to hang out with your friends, and you get to
Right.
go and dress up and walk around in your costume and meet all these cool photographers and nerd out. Like that's why you start going. All of San Diego Comic Con turned into one of my favorite cons because the entire harbor area, the entire town shut down.
Oh, wow.
They block off all the streets, and all the bars and restaurants do special events. So once the con's over, everybody hangs out at the bars and restaurants. So the streets are just full of cosplayers. So
Hmm.
it's like a 3-day party in the streets. It's like Mardi Gras. It was incredible. Nobody cared about the convention. I'm not there to buy stuff. I was there because I was with like 20 awesome friends and we were just having a blast.
Right.
I will go to San Diego Comic Con every chance I get now. I don't even care about the con. Whatever. Hopefully next year I'll be able to wear my costume, but I don't.
Right.
San Diego Comic Con's the convention, and that's the big place where all the studios advertise and announce.
Yeah.
So a lot of us, even though I'm not in a union or SAG or whatever, that wasn't the con I really wanted to be promoting in any way because I did have a lot of friends who were stricken by it. So I wasn't going to be walking around as Iron Man there just to show
Right.
some support. Other little cons that are that'd probably be fine. I mean, we're going to New York Comic Con in October. That's people are going to be cosplaying there. It's not the con where all
Right.
these companies make the big money. That's San Diego Comic Con. We weren't promoting. No, they can eat that money, whatever.
Right.
um, for cosplay though, for photography and seeing cool costumes, that's a toss up between WonderCon and KatsuCon. Those two were so much. I had a weekend pass to KatsuCon. I never even stepped foot into the convention.
Oh,
Didn't
wow.
I wasted $100 because it's the Gaylord National Harbor Hotel. So it's 2 hotels with a big glass dome above it, and it's this huge open courtyard. It feels like you're outside. It's like a football stadium, and then there's the convention center down and underneath one of the hotels. But all the cosplayers and photographers hang out outside because it's this beautiful palace-like landscape with glass and archways and gazebos. Like that's where everybody hangs out in costume. So that's where we all hung out for the weekend. I never even
Hmm.
stepped foot into the convention because it's the same stuff as every other convention. I didn't care to go into it.
Right.
So I wasted money. I didn't even need a pass. So yeah, you start going because you just get to hang out with these people and just make those memories and just do dumb stuff. And then you're also in costume, so you're also giving other people chances to take photos they never would have otherwise had a chance to take. Where else are you going to go to get a photo with Iron Man or Wonder Woman or Captain America?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and some of the cosplays are like screen quality as well.
absolutely,
It's really impressive, and like you said, it's where you can't get that experience anywhere else with
that is
people
what
that
I'll tell
just
people.
love what they do.
Exactly, and that's what I'll tell people who are I'll explain to people all the time. Like, they'll genuinely, some people are being facetious, but like, hey, like, why do you, why? Like, why cosplay? Like, why?
Hmm.
Like, what is the point to it? And everybody has their own reasons. The way I look at it though is you can go to New York, you can go to Times Square, you can go wander around LA and probably run into a celebrity. You probably run into Tom Cruise or RDJ or whoever the hell, and like, hey, Ben Affleck, can I get your picture? Cool, that can happen.
Hmm.
I think Daniel Radcliffe hides in alleyways or something like that. So, like, but where else can you go to get a photo with an actual physical Iron Man suit? Somebody
Hmm.
dressed as Superman who's looks like Superman, somebody who's dressed like, your favorite anime character or a comic book character. You go to a con for that, and now I get to be that person who gets to give that to somebody. Like I get to dress up and get those reactions and make kids and adults just as happy as the kids because they're
Hmm.
like, oh, cool, let me get a photo with you. That's awesome. And then you get to also connect with other people who are just as passionate about it. Like, oh, you're Iron Man. Oh, oddly enough, after cosplaying Iron Man, I never realized it, but there was 5 or 6 of us waddling around at WonderCon, and we were all pretty tired. We were all in the costumes for a few hours, and a whole group of Iron Man cosplayers. We just wander past a whole group of Halo cosplayers,
Hmm.
and we all just stopped, kind of locked eyes, and it was like this big transmission of data. And in my head, it was like, yo, man, I never thought about how much that must suck to be in a Halo costume. Yeah, you're tired too. Us too,
Hmm.
man. Yeah, that really sucks. Have a good day. And we just left. Like it was this exchange of information, like, oh, yeah, that costume sucks too, huh?
Right.
And they did the same thing to us. They saw us like, oh, those costumes suck too, huh? And we just left. It's like, yeah, yeah, these full armor builds really do. They're taxing because you
Yeah.
just tell the way they're walking, like
Right.
this sucks because no one was around, so you can kind of slouch down a little bit and really let the muscles sink in.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'll never forget that. Just it was this whole like 100-year exchange of information in a few seconds of just like, yeah, that sucks, man. Yeah.
With that, speaking about how uncomfortable these suits are to wear for long periods of time, because it's uncomfortable to walk at a con without cosplay. Like if you're on your
Put a
feet all
backpack on,
day,
yeah.
but then put on armor that restricts your movement. What did you, or not what did you, but how much of a difference is there between your Star Boost armor and your Mark 85 as far as
No, no, no,
comfort when
no.
you're at a con?
Say it right. Starburst. Everybody else
Starburst armor.
does. Everybody else does.
I know. I can't believe I
Massive,
almost stated it.
massive. The 85 is not comfortable at all.
Hmm.
And that's again, I was new. I'm still paying for the scaling issues. Star I almost did it.
You said it.
Starburst is I almost freaking did it. Starburst is way more comfortable. I can put that entire suit on and off completely by myself. Um I can literally step out of the legs and just walk around in like my spandex or whatever. And
Hmm.
if my legs are getting tired, I can just slip the legs off and just so I can squat down. I can sit Indian style. Like that suit is so much more comfortable. Um, I can take the arms off by myself so I can adjust my head, take my helmet off. Yeah, it is worlds more comfortable.
Yeah, that I would have. Well, and I know that you're paying for the scaling issue, but do you think part of that is also because of the armor, the way that it's designed?
100%. Yep.
Because you've got one that's supposed to be like when you're actually talking about it, like in universe, one
It's a
that's an actual
physical
suit of
armor.
armor versus
This is a yes,
nanotech.
this is a physical suit that is a bulkier. There's supposed to be somebody inside of it.
Hmm.
This is a nanotech skin suit that's supposed to be more like a Spider-Man suit. I wanted the proportions to be good. I wanted to have the thin waist, larger chest, wide stance. So you pay for that when it comes to
Hmm.
scaling and mobility and trying to keep the right form while walking around. So you just don't look weird. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. It is also because of the way the armors are designed.
So, with all of that being said, with how uncomfortable it is, but you're also enjoying those moments, would you
Yeah,
recommend it? Would you
100%.
recommend it to put the time in and go to
100,
cons
yeah,
and walk
absolutely.
around?
If Yeah, there's nothing else like it. There really isn't. And I mean, when you start getting into full armor builds and everybody has the experience of doing it, I don't think I've seen any Iron Man cosplayer who's actually finished their suit because people do quit.
Hmm.
It's daunting. It is. It I'd say about 90% of the people who start armor builds, like they have a helmet, they maybe made a glove, but they get the files and they're like, I'm going to make a suit. I'd say 90 to 95% of them never finish. They quit.
Hmm.
And that's a big number
That is
because
a big number.
they quit mostly when it comes to the scaling. They'll start fitting it and they'll start realizing that they are not built like Iron Man. They are
Hmm.
not built like this long, slender leg, skinny waist superhero, which who is, right?
Right.
And it's taxing, but it's worth it. It's the half suited up selfie.
Hmm.
Everybody does it. They'll have the chest armor on, they'll have the abs, they might have an arm on, and they're in the mirror just cheesing because they're just like, yeah, it feels so cool to just wear the upper body with no arms.
Hmm.
It just feels like bulletproof armor. Like you just feel so cool wearing it that you can just walk around the house in half the suit and be like, this is pretty cool, you know. And I could probably scroll through Danny's and Emily's and Kiara's and Kenneth's and all of these other people and Nick's and probably find every single one of their photos that they did that and uploaded it because everybody does
Right.
it. I did it in both suits. I have one
Yep.
for the 85 and Star Boost, and yeah, it's fun.
Well, there's something fun. Like I have yet to get into a full armor because, like I said, I'm a body type that is going to be a nightmare to try and scale. Like there's that's going to be a nightmare. But even just doing something like a helmet, like putting on those helmets behind me, it's so
Yeah.
much fun once you get them done and like the eyes on the Nova helmets light up and all that. I can't tell you how many times I've sat out here working on something and just put a helmet on while I'm doing work because
Is
it's
that is that Vex Nova helmet,
um I
the
don't
gold
know.
one? Oh,
No, that is I don't know. That is like the free file. I have it's over
okay, gotcha.
there. I have I think the one that you've done a couple of videos on of Richard Ryder's helmet. I've got that printed, but
That
I don't have it
right,
finished yet.
right there, had it back there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got that one printed. I'm looking at it, but it's not done yet. But yeah, it's so much fun just to put it on and just sit around. Like
It is.
anytime I do a prop Mjolnir, I'll just pick that up
I
and throw it
mean,
around.
just putting on the Spider-Man
Yeah.
masks I've been printing are just they're just fun.
Yeah.
I love this color combo.
Yeah. So with that being said, 3D printing has come a long way in the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
I've only been doing it for like 2 years, and the difference between this little Ender 3 and the Neptune 3 Plus that I've got over here that I'm doing more work on is it's a vast ocean of difference between
Yep.
when I started and now, and that's just been a couple of years. So with the way that 3D printing is advancing and the cost is going down, it's more accessible. What are the barriers for entry for 3D printing now for people to get into it?
Money,
Money?
budget.
Yeah.
I don't really think there's any more of it. It's going to continue to get easier. I can't imagine in what ways, but it is. And but with that said, there's no the barrier to entry right now is just cost.
Yeah.
You can buy it. You can get a $600 printer that you take it out of the box, plug it in, and it does this.
Hmm.
It does this out of box.
Right.
I mean, in a day. And
Wild.
there are so many resources out there now for tutorials. I'm guilty of it. I've contributed to that pool of how do I manipulate a 3D model? Oh, I have a video just showing these are all the websites you get free 3D models from. You don't need to model.
Hmm.
All the program I have right here on my computer, I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. I have 10 3D printing slicing softwares that are all free from different
Hmm.
companies and stuff. You get the printer, you save up for the printer, you get it, you
Hmm.
learn how to manipulate the model, tons of tutorials, and a lot of the programs are optimizing it. So there's even less guesswork with settings.
Right.
You get some filament, throw it in, and print something. That's it.
Yeah.
That you're in it. Now, obviously, there's a high ceiling of skill level, but the
Hmm.
barrier to entry is low, and it's going to be budgetary. That's all it's ever going to be, because you can fit a printer right here on your desk.
Hmm.
Boom, and that's all you need. You do not need any other space dedicated except that printer sitting right there and a roll of filament on it or underneath it. And then you print your thing, you have fun with it, sell it, throw it away, trade it, whatever the heck, and then you are on to the next thing. And I mean, most people I think who are going to get into the hobby are going to have a some type of tablet or computer that can handle that.
Hmm.
Um, there's even getting the Anchor Make M5. It's not a great printer, but you don't even need a computer for it right now because the app has so many models you can just click and send right to the printer. You can print probably about 50 things off that printer before you ever need to actually slice your own files.
Wow.
And then now there's companies developing web-based slicing programs where the load on your computer is completely removed from the equation. You open it up, you drag your file into it, and it's an off-site server that's slicing the file for you. So it doesn't
Hmm.
matter how strong your computer is, you're getting G code generated for you, and you can slice whatever model you want, and then you can send it right from your phone or computer to the printer. So it's just getting crazier.
Right.
There's a company, I can't say their name because they'll get mad at me for revealing it too early, but they are working on a web that's it, literally it's basically Cura and Bamboo that they're running in the background. So you use their website and their program, and it's a slicing program online, and then it slices it and gives you back the G code, and that's it. And that's going to be game changing, honestly.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, will be. The I know that when I got into this, thanks in large part to you, by the way. My wife is not your biggest fan because I keep spending
That's
money
usually how it
because
goes. Usually, the more one spouse seems to like me, the other one seems to hate me and wish my demise. That's fine. I imagine I most of my negative comments on YouTube I think are just angry significant others who are in crippling debt. So that's fine. I'm okay with it.
yeah, yeah, I would imagine. And I'm joking. If she watches this, she's gonna get mad at me. She thinks you're wonderful.
You don't
But
have to lie. That's fine.
a large reason why I have gotten into this hobby is because I just happened to look and come across one of your videos. And so before I let you go, the I think one of the last things I want to ask is what made you want to start doing tutorials to show other people how to do this? Was it just because you were doing it and you weren't finding the tutorials that you needed?
Because I kept messing it up.
Yeah.
Because I kept messing everything up, and I also it was a mixture of there were almost no tutorials for what I was trying to do. Um, there was not a lot of resources, information out there. And if there were information and resources I was finding on YouTube, they were scattered, they weren't clear, or they just disappeared. You'd
Hmm.
start on a series and then it would just never end, or that people were leaving out a lot of details. People used to be real secretive about certain things, like the strapping and harnesses and rigging systems for costumes. People used to be real like, don't tell, especially like from the Star Wars
Hmm.
stormtrooper rigging. That used to be like a closely guarded secret, but then a lot of people started just kind of landing on the same ideas, and
Right.
once one word gets out, it all gets out. So um, I wasn't finding a lot of resources in that aspect, and then I kept messing it up. I kept making mistakes and being like, I just went through 10 different ways to print this helmet. The 11th way worked. Let's talk about those 11. Hey, this didn't work, this didn't work, this didn't work, this worked. Hopefully now you can save yourself some time and headache. And just started doing that. And like I'd put up a video like, oh, this is what I did to get this to work. And then somebody would ask a question that I mentioned in the video, like, oh, well, how did you bond the pieces together? Did you use super glue? No, I used the soldering iron and melted it because it's plastic. And it just compounded from people just asking questions.
Right.
There were also a lot of accepted isms in the community 4 years ago. Don't use power. That used to be a big no. Don't use power tools on 3D prints. It can't take it.
Hmm.
Well, that was old PLA from 2015, 2016. Well, it's 2019, 2020 now. PLA's thermal deflection and melting temperature isn't 150 now, it's 200 degrees.
Right.
So theoretically, now it's strong. So people just were so stuck in some old ways. Nobody had seemed to really be questioning a lot of like, well, have you tried it since?
Right.
And it just you start it started a chain reaction on the channel of just people asking more and more questions, and that gives me more videos to make, and more printers come out. Well, hey, can you do a review on this printer or show me how to use this one? It was just a never ending cycle, and
Yeah.
now we're here.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're here because I would not be
Me
doing
too.
this. I'm not joking. I would not be printing anything if it wasn't for you because I would have bought my first printer. I would have had all of the problems that I had with this little Ender 3 and would have thought that okay, this is just how it is and I'm done with it and I'm going to throw it in the trash and not mess with it ever again. But thankfully, I'd watch some of your videos being like, "Hey, this is going to happen. You're going to deal with this." That's one thing I really appreciate to kind of prop you up here more than I already have been is that I really appreciate how honest you are in your videos about the issues that you're more than likely going to come across, especially when you're first starting out. Because that's
That's
something that I don't see a lot from the space online of people talking about like hobbies. They don't always want to talk about the failures. They don't always want to talk about the issues that you're going to have.
right, because it's a balance of, because you don't want to gatekeep, right? You don't
Right.
want to it's a fine line. I obviously would love to tell everybody out there, like, yeah, you every single one, you can make an Iron Man suit. Follow these easy steps. That's bull. That is
Right.
absolute. This is not for everybody. Not everybody's going to be able to do this. There are barriers to entry. So I think there's a fine line of painting a realistic picture. Hey, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna have a clog. You're gonna have a failed print. You're gonna drop a. You're gonna have a beautiful painted thing and then drop it on the ground. Like,
Hmm.
you're gonna mess stuff up, but like, it's okay. I'm messing stuff up too. When I'll still get comments like, I'll never be as good as you, or I hate those comments because
Right.
I'm just 4 years ahead of you. I'm not better. I've just been doing this for 4 years. It's
Right.
going to get me better results. That doesn't mean I'm better. I've just been doing it longer. And start doing it today, and in 4 years, you'll be as good or not better than me if you want
Hmm.
to be. So you just have to start. That's
Right.
all.
Well, I think that's a good spot to end off then. You just have to start. Just get going with it,
Just
right? Just just
just
just
do
start.
it.
Just start.
Thank you, Nike. Just do it.
All right. Well, Frank,
Trademark, I think.
thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me. I really appreciate it. Is there
No problem.
anything you want to plug before we hop off here?
No. No, not really. It's hard to plug when the whole podcast is an interview for you.
I
It's like,
understand. I understand.
like, comment, subscribe. I don't know.
All right. Well, links to Frank's YouTube and TikTok and social media and things will be in the description of this video. So definitely go and check him out if you are not following him. If you're interested at all in cosplay and 3D printing, make sure you're following him. If you just think that Iron Man's cool, go follow him. You won't regret it. So yeah, again, Frank, thank you so much for sitting down with me. This has been an absolute blast, and just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. Anytime. Thank you for having me.